Hello beautiful creatures, welcome back to my channel Phyrra. If you're new here, my name's Cordelia and I love bright and colorful alternative makeup, gothic fashion and mental health, pets and more. So if you want to join in the conversation, please be sure to click that little subscribe button down below and ring that bell. So today's video is going to be my top 5 eyeshadow palettes of 2022. As you may or may not know, if you're new around here, I have been on a low buy since I'd say like November 2019 or early 2020, somewhere in that range. And I've done a really good job sticking with it. And so for 2022, I think I bought a total of 8 eyeshadow palettes. And I wanted to share my top 5 with you. Number 5 is the Blend Bunny Surge palette. I typically do not buy big palettes because I find them just overwhelming. However, when I saw this palette, it was very appealing to me because it has everything organized by colors and rows. So you have like pastels, like light, medium, dark, and shimmer. Now, I will say, I don't like the shimmers in this palette at all. I did not find them impressive to me. They were just kind of eh. But the matte formula is excellent. And as somebody with hooded eyes, I love mattes because I often need mattes to balance out my shimmer colors or my multi-chromes, however you want to put it. So I really enjoyed the Blend Bunny Surge palette. I will insert my swatches up here for you to check them out, and I will have labels on the last picture for you. So the number 4 palette on my list is the Melt Gemini 2 palette. I was not a fan of the original Melt Gemini palette that came out. The color story was not appealing to me. But as a Gemini, when I saw Gemini 2, I was like, ooh, that needs to be mine. I love the peachy shades in it. I love the reds, and I love like the pops of like mossy greens. I found the color story very compelling to me, and I really enjoy the colors in the palette. And it's a very matte heavy palette, which is what I prefer. And I like to mix in my multi-chromes with my mattes. And most brands, like, not every brand does multi-chromes or does them well. So I really enjoy that palette for the mattes. I think it's very pretty. I feel like it is great quality. I don't always feel like every melt palette is high quality. Sometimes I feel like they missed the mark. When I was looking at the Zodiac palettes, I skipped those because I just didn't feel like it looked like melt. It looked like a very bland release. But for me, the Gemini 2, I loved the color story, loved the mix, and I've really enjoyed playing with the palette. Number 3. The number 3 palette on my list is the Odins Eye Hella palette. This was the collaboration palette with Angelica Niviquist. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. And I love this palette. It has the most unique story of any palette in my collection because it has like the yellows and greens and pinks and a little bit of plum. And I absolutely think it is gorgeous. I like the quality. It's the first thing I've ever tried from Odins Eye, and I love the quality of it. I think it is beautiful. I like the artwork. I understand it's not everybody's taste, but I think it's cool. So I think it is great for an indie Swedish brand, and I've had a lot of fun playing with it. So it made my list at number 3. The number 2 palette on my list is the Danielle Myricks Lightwork 4 palette. This palette basically squeezed in at the end of the year, and I didn't technically buy it. Dave bought this palette for me, but I absolutely love it. for my wedding earlier this year, Mickey used one of the Danielle Myricks Lightwork palettes on my lips and I think on like my cheeks for my wedding, and I loved the look of it, and I was like, I want to buy this palette, but it was like sold out, so there was no way I could get it. And I guess, you know, Dave remembered that in the back of his head, so that's why I have it now. I have had so much fun playing with this palette. Now, there are 4 colors in it that I do not care for. I really do not care for the water activated liners, and I don't care for, I think it's Divinity and Angels, those 2 shades, just because they just feel so crumbly. But the multi-chromes are beautiful, very smooth, very pigmented, very easy to work with. And like the color Awakening specifically, that's the one I play with the most. It just makes me so happy every time I put it on. So I really love the palette. I love how it makes me feel. I absolutely love Danielle Myricks and her products. I was very blessed to be able to take a complexion tutorial or complexion makeup class from her at the makeup show in Orlando a few years ago, which was amazing. And I actually got to interview her, but because it was so noisy there, even with like my extra sound boosting stuff, I could not get the sound to come out for that interview, which made me so sad because she is an amazing person, so talented, so passionate. I also got to meet her originally when I went with Mickey to New York Fashion Week, and this was at like the Rosario Dawson show. So she's just extremely kind, welcoming, very talented, very beautiful, and she's like, her products to me are just amazing. I love them. I think that she does a great job coming up with her formulas, and they're very unique. Like the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm, which is what I'm wearing today, like it's a really unique product. I think it looks great. Her color fixes are unique, and her Vision Flush, like blush things, are unique. Like she's just got a lot of really great products that are pro products, and I love playing with her makeup. The #1 top palette of 2022 for me was the Lethal Cosmetics 1-Up palette. This palette, oh my god, it's the palette I've used the most during 2022. It is so gorgeous. It has a mix of like all of my favorite kinds of colors, because you got some duochromes, you got some multichromes, you got UV reactive shades, you got hot pink, you got purple, you've got teals, you've got greens, you got lime green. Like all of like the fun brights that I love to play with are in this palette. The matte formula is excellent. The shimmers are great. Like every time I play with the palette, I have so much fun with it. And I really love the retro palette design because it's like an arcade game. It gives me all the feels, like nostalgia feels of being with my brother and playing in an arcade as we were playing like Tetris or Super Mario, like different games when we were kids. So I love it for that. I love the fact that when you open it up, you see like player 1 and player 2. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just so much fun. It's just so much fun. I love the colors. I love how it performs on my eyes. I love how like I feel like I can get versatile, endless looks with it that are all in my colors scheme. It just felt like it was made for me. So that's why it's my #1 palette. It's the palette I've used the most. I have no plans of slowing down and using it just because it's fun. Every time I use it, it makes me feel good. And I happen to love Lethal Cosmetics. They make lots of beautiful single eyeshadows, which I have a huge collection of their single eyeshadows at this point. I actually bought most of the colors in their Night Flower palette, so I guess I should have bought their Night Flower palette. Their colors are beautiful, their mattes are amazing on me, and I have fun with their shimmers, their duochromes, and their multichromes, even though they are on the more subtle side compared to, say, like my Terra Moons. These are my top 5 eyeshadow palettes of 2022. What are yours? Please be sure to let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you. If you like this video, please consider sharing it because it helps me out and tells YouTube that my video is worth showing to people. So thank you so much. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you next time. I love you. Bye.